You are walking alone at night. The street is empty. No footsteps behind you, no sound at all. And yet, something in your body shifts. Your neck tightens. Your skin prickles. A feeling rises from somewhere beneath conscious thought, specific and unmistakable. Someone is watching you. You turn around. No one is there. But the feeling does not apologize. It does not correct itself and say, "My mistake, carry on." It lingers. It sits in your chest like a fact. And for a few more steps, you walk a little faster, glance over your shoulder one more time, and scan the dark for something your eyes cannot find, but your body insists is there. Why does this happen? Why does your brain generate a feeling so vivid, so physically real, in the complete absence of evidence? The answer is not paranoia. It is not anxiety. It is one of the oldest and most finely tuned survival systems your brain has ever built. And it is still running, right now, in you, exactly the way it was designed to. Let's start with what the feeling actually is. When you sense that you are being watched, what you are experiencing is not a thought. It is a detection signal. Your brain has an entire neural system dedicated to detecting the presence of other agents in your environment, particularly agents whose attention is directed at you. This system does not wait for proof. It does not require you to see the watcher. It fires on partial cues, fragments of information so small you may never consciously register them, and it generates a feeling in your body before your thinking mind has any idea what triggered it. Neuroscientist Arne Öhman at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden spent years studying how the human brain detects threats that have not yet been consciously perceived. His research demonstrated that the brain can process threat-relevant stimuli, including human faces with direct eye gaze, through a subcortical pathway that bypasses the visual cortex entirely. The signal travels from the eyes to a structure called the superior colliculus, then to the pulvinar nucleus of the thalamus, and from there to the amygdala, which triggers a threat response before the conscious brain has even finished building an image of what the eyes saw. Read that again. Your brain can detect that someone is looking at you before you are aware of seeing them. This is not a metaphor. This is a measured, documented neural pathway. The feeling of being watched is, in many cases, your brain's fast threat detection system responding to real visual input that your conscious mind has not yet processed. A shape in peripheral vision, a pair of eyes angled toward you at a distance your conscious attention did not reach, a subtle change in someone's body posture that your ancient perceptual system recognized as oriented toward you, even though you could not tell a single person in the crowd was looking your way. But the system does not stop at detecting real gazes. It also fires in the absence of a real watcher. And this is where the story gets more interesting. Psychologist Harriet at the University of York has studied how the mere suggestion of being observed changes human behavior. In her experiments, even an image of eyes, printed on a poster and placed in a room, was enough to make people behave more pro-socially, donate more to a honesty box, and clean up after themselves more carefully. The brain does not need a real observer. It needs a signal, real or implied, that observation might be occurring. And once that signal is received, the entire behavioral system shifts.
Why would a brain be built this way? Why would evolution create a system that fires even when no one is actually watching? The answer comes from a field called error management theory, developed by evolutionary psychologists Martie Haselton and David Buss. The core idea is simple and powerful. In survival situations, not all errors are equal. If you are an early human walking through grassland and you sense something watching you from the tall grass, there are two possible mistakes you can make. You can assume it is nothing, keep walking, and be wrong. in which case you may be attacked by a predator that was, in fact, watching you. Or you can assume it is a threat, freeze, scan, change direction, and be wrong, in which case you wasted 30 seconds of energy on a false alarm. One error costs you your life. The other costs you half a minute. Evolution does not build systems that optimize for accuracy. It builds systems that optimize for survival. And a system that overdetects being watched will always outsurvive a system that underdetects it, even if the overdetecting system generates 1,000 false alarms for every real one. The math is relentless. A single missed predator ends the gene line. 1,000 false alarms are just 1,000 moments of unnecessary caution, and unnecessary caution has never been fatal. This is why the feeling of being watched is so difficult to override with logic. You can tell yourself no one is there. You can look around and confirm it. But the system that generated the feeling is not listening to your rational assessment. It operates below conscious control, in circuits that were built for a world where the thing watching you from the grass was not a stranger at a bus stop, but something that could kill you in seconds. Researcher Colin Clifford at the University of New South Wales has shown that the human visual system has a measurable bias toward perceiving direct eye gaze. When participants were shown faces with ambiguous gaze direction, they were significantly more likely to perceive the eyes as looking at them than looking away. The system does not default to not watching. It defaults to watching. And in conditions of uncertainty, low light, peripheral vision, brief glances, the bias gets stronger, not weaker. This explains why the feeling of being watched is most intense exactly when visibility is lowest. At night, in a crowd, in a dark hallway, when you are alone. These are the precise conditions where the gaze detection system has the least data, and therefore applies the strongest bias. Your brain is not malfunctioning in the dark. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. When information is scarce, assume the worst, because assuming the best in low information environments was an extinction-level strategy for your ancestors. There is another layer to this that extends beyond predators entirely, and it involves social surveillance. For a species that lives in groups, being watched does not only mean being hunted, it also means being evaluated. Psychologist Leary at Duke University has written extensively on the human need for social monitoring, the constant low-level awareness of how you are being perceived by others. This system is not separate from the physical surveillance system. It is built on the same architecture. The same circuits that scan for predators in the grass also scan for social judgment in a meeting room. The same amygdala that fires when something might be watching you from the dark also fires when you feel exposed in front of an audience. This is why public speaking activates the same neural threat response as physical danger. Your brain does not distinguish being watched by a predator from being watched by a crowd. Both are parsed as exposure. Both trigger the ancient response. I am being absorbed, and I do not fully control what happens next. There is something even more striking about how early this system comes online. Developmental psychologists have shown that newborn infants, within hours of birth, preferentially orient toward faces with direct eye gaze over faces with averted gaze. Researcher Teresa Farroni and colleagues at Birkbeck, University of London, demonstrated that this preference is present before any learning could account for it. The gaze detection system is not taught. It arrives pre-installed. Your brain came to the world already primed to detect whether someone is looking, before you could walk, speak, or understand a single word. This makes evolutionary sense. An infant who could detect attention directed at it, whether from a caregiver or a threat, had a survival advantage from the very first day. The system does not need experience to activate. It was shaped across hundreds of thousands of generations and arrives fully operational at birth. And it never switches off. Even in modern environments flooded with artificial light, security cameras, and strangers who are almost certainly thinking about their own problems, the system runs the same calculation it has always run. It does not care about probability. It cares about consequence. And in its calculus, even a 1 in 10,000 chance of being watched by something dangerous is worth a physical response, because the cost of being wrong in one direction is inconvenience, and the cost of being wrong in the other direction is death. The feeling of being watched, then, is not one system. It is at least two, layered on top of each other. The first is a predator detection system, fast, subcortical, biased toward false positives, active mostly in low visibility environments. The second is a social surveillance system. Slower, more cortical, focused on reputation and evaluation, active mostly in group settings. Both generate the same core feeling, the prickling awareness that someone else's attention is on you. And both share the same fundamental design principle. It is better to detect a watcher who is not there than to miss one who is. So what do you do with a brain that keeps telling you someone is watching, even when no one is? The honest answer is that you do not need to do much. The system is working correctly. It is not lying to you. It is giving you its best guess based on incomplete information. And its best guess has been biased toward caution for a very good evolutionary reason. The feeling is not the problem. The feeling is the system doing its job. What changes when you understand the mechanism is not the feeling itself, but your relationship to it. You stop interpreting the prickling sensation as evidence that something is wrong with you. You stop wondering why you are paranoid. You recognize it for what it is, a signal from an ancient, well-calibrated alarm system that was built to keep you alive in a world far more dangerous than this one. You are walking alone at night. The street is empty, and something in your body tightens, because a part of your brain that predates language, predates civilization, predates everything you think of as you, has just run a calculation it has been running for millions of years. It is not asking whether someone is watching. It is assuming someone might be. And in the world where that system was built, the ones who made that assumption are the only ones who survived long enough to become your ancestors. The street is empty. The feeling is ancient. And the part of you that cannot stop scanning the dark is not broken. It is the